God bless everybody. So today we're continuing our studies of the second book of Samuel. We're going to read chapters 16 and 17. When David was a little past the top of the mountain, there was Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, who met him with a couple of saddle donkeys, and on them 200 loaves of bread, 100 clusters of raisins, 100 summer fruits, and a skin of wine. And the king said to Ziba, "What do you mean to do with these?" So Ziba said, "The donkeys are for the king's household to ride on, the bread and the summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine for those who are faint in the wilderness to drink." Then the king said, "Where is your master's son?" And Ziba said to the king, "Indeed, he is staying in Jerusalem, for he said, 'Today the house of Israel will restore the kingdom of my father to me.'" So the king said to Ziba, "Here are all belongs to Mephibosheth is yours." And Ziba said, "I humbly bow before you that I may find favor in your sight, my king, my lord, O king." Now, when King David came to Bahurim, there was a man from the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera, come from there. He came out cursing continuously as he came, and he threw stones at David. And all the servants of King David and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. Also Shimei said thus when he cursed, come out, you bloodthirsty man, you rogue. The Lord has brought upon you all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose place you have reigned, and the Lord has delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom, your son. So now you are caught in your own evil, because you are a bloodthirsty man." Then Abishi, the son of Zerah, said to the king, "Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Please let me go over and take off his head." But the king said, "What have I to you with you, your sons of Zerah? So let him curse, because the Lord has said to him, 'Curse David.' Who then shall say, 'Why have you done so?'" And David said to Abishi and all his servants, "See how my son, who came from my own body, seeks my life. How much more now may this Benjamite? Let him alone and let him curse, for so the Lord has ordered him. It may be that the Lord will look on my affliction, and that the Lord will repay me with good for his cursing this day." And as David and his men went along the road, Shimei went along the hillside opposite and cursed as he went, threw stones at him, and kicked up dust. Now the king and all the people were with him became weary, so they refreshed themselves there. Meanwhile, Absalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem, and Abiathar was with him. So it was, when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, came to Absalom, that Hushai said to Absalom, "Long live the king, long live the king." So Absalom said to Hushai, "Is this your loyalty to your friend? Why did you not go with your friend?" And Hushai said to Absalom, "No, but whom the Lord and this people and all the men of Israel chose, his I will be, and with him I will remain. Furthermore, whom shall I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his son? As I served in your father's presence, so I will be in your presence. Then Absalom said to Ahithophel, give advice as to what we should do. And Ahithophel said to Absalom, go in to your father's concubines, whom he has left to keep the house, and all Israel will hear that you are abhorred by your father. Then the hands of all who are with you will be strong. So they pitched a tent for Absalom, and on top of the house, Absalom went to his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. Now the advice of Ahithophel, which he gave in those days, was as if one had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the advice of Ahithophel, both with David and Absalom. David was too quick to believe Ziba's story, which turned out to be untrue. His snap judgment had lasting consequences for Mephibosheth. Shimei blamed David for the deaths of Abner, Ishbosheth, and Saul and his sons. David showed great restraint in not punishing him, constant with his behavior at other times when he was opposed. He even wondered if this mistreatment was part of God's punishment, for his sin. He trusted God to bring about justice, to repay him with good. Later on, Shimei had a change of heart. This is a direct fulfillment of God's decree. The concubines Absalom took were the ones David had left behind to care for the house. Absalom's maneuvering for the throne and dishonor of the father David was done in full view of Israel. Hushai would only be successful in subverting the Reverend Ahithophel if God helped him. Moreover, Ahithophel said to Absalom, now let me choose 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue David tonight, and I will come upon him while he is weary and weak, and make him afraid, and all the people who are with him will flee, and I will strike only the king. Then I will bring back all the people to you. When all return except the man whom you seek, all the people will be at peace. And the saying pleased Absalom and all the elders of Israel. Then Absalom said, now call Hushai, the architect, also, and let us hear what he says too. When Hushai came to Absalom spoke to him, saying, Ahithophel has spoken in this matter. Shall we do as he says? If not, speak up. So Hushai said to Absalom, the advice that Ahithophel has given is not good at this time. For, said Hushai, you know your father and his men, that they are mighty men, and they are enraged in their minds, and that like a bear robbed of her cubs in the field. And your father is a great man of war, and will not camp with the people. Surely by now he is hiding in some pit or in some other place, and it will be when some of them are overthrown at the first, that whoever hears it will say, there is a slaughter among the people who follow Absalom. And even he who is valiant, his heart is like the heart of a lion, will melt completely. For all Israel knows that your father is a mighty man, and those who are with him are valiant men. Therefore I advise that all Israel be fully gathered to you, from Dan to Beersheba, like the sand that is by the sea, for multitude, and that you go to a battle in person. So we will come upon him in some place where he may be found, and we will fall on him. The dew falls on the ground, and of him and all the men who are with him there shall not be left so much as one. Moreover, if there has withdrawn into a city, then all Israel shall bring ropes to that city, and we will pull it into the river until there is not one small stone found there. So Absalom and all the men of Israel said, the advice of Hushai the Archite is better than the advice of Abiathar, for the Lord has proposed to defeat the good advice of Abiathar, to the intent that the Lord might bring disaster upon Absalom. Then Hushai said to Zadok and Abiathar the priest, thus and so Abiathar advised Absalom and the elders of Israel. Thus and so I have stressed. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, do not spend this night in the plants of the wilderness, but speedily across over. Let the king and all the people who are with him be swallowed up. Now Jonathan and Asaph stayed at En-Rogel, for they dared not to be seen coming into the city. So a female servant would come and tell them they can go and tell King David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them and told Absalom, but both of them went away quickly and came to the men's house in Bahurim, who had a well in his court, and they went down into it. Then the woman took and spread a covering over the well's mouth, and spread ground grain on it, and the thing was not known. And when the Absalom's servants came to the women of the house, they said, where are Amatz and Jonathan? So the women said unto them, they have gone over the water brook. And when they had searched and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. Hushai would only be successful in subverting the reverted Abiathar, and if God helped him. Hushai wisely covered his basics. If Absalom follower Abiathar advised to attack David immediately, David would need to escape across the Jordan. Meanwhile, he used Absalom's egotism and paranoia to convince him to go against Abiathar's advice. And when they searched and could not find him, they returned to Jerusalem. Now it came to pass that after they had departed, they came up out of the well and went and told King David and said to David, arise and cross over the water quickly, for this has Abiathar advised against you. So David and all the people who were with him arose and crossed over the Jordan. By the morning light, not one of them was left who had gone over to the Jordan. Now when Abiathar saw that his advice was not followed, he saddled a donkey and rose and went home to his house, to his city. Then he put his household in order and hanged himself and died. And he was buried in the father's tomb. Then David went to Mahanaim, and Absalom crossed over the Jordan, he and all the men of Israel with him. And Absalom made Amasa captain of the army instead of Joab. This Amasa was the son of a man whose name was Jethro, an Israelite, who had gone into the Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, sister of Zeruiah, Joab's mother. So Israel and Absalom encamped in the land of Gilead, actually. Now it happened when David had come to Mahanaim that Shobi, the son of Nahash, was from Rabbith of the people of Ammon. Mashir, the son of Ammiel, from Lo Debar, and Barzillai, the Gileadite from Rogelim, brought beds and basins, either vessels and wheat and barley and flour, parched grain and beans and lentils and parched seeds, honey and curds, sheep and cheese of the herd for David and the people who are with him to eat, for they said, and the people are hungry and weary and thirsty in the wilderness. And that is it for this story, for this episode. So like always, I'm going to pray it out. Father God, I thank you for everything. I thank you for allowing me to read your word to the people. I'm thanking for the watchers. I'm thank you for you keeping me alive. Yeah. I thank you for everything, Lord. I only pray that the people watching this open up their hearts and accept Jesus as Lord and Savior before it's too late. So that's it for today. God bless you, and I love you. See you on the next one.